retail and NFTs. If I have heard anyone complain about the future of small business and how to evolve with 21st technology, it is bricks and mortar retail shop owners. They think because they sell a tangible, earthly product and they have a shop front in the physical world where real human beings need to walk in and use real money to buy, they're out the game. Now, of course, there have been a ton of different automations and different ways of working online that have really amplified the retail presence, whether it's automations and shop cart reminders to using text messages as marketing. However, NFTs are the next evolution, and I have a ton of ideas. I was almost going to swear, didn't swear. Pew pew. I have a ton of ideas for retail. I've worked very closely with the retail industry, and I have never met so much resistance. Whether it be I just have to hope and pray that people walk into my store, to how the heck could I possibly use a digital asset in my physical product business? Well, friend, listen up, because this episode is for you. And if you hate technology, if you're not in retail, and so you don't think you want to listen to this, you are going to get some amazing ideas. And this is simpler than ever. And I bet what you will walk away at the end of this with is knowing you're already using these systems. You're just not thinking about it in the way that blockchain and or NFTs do. Now, if you're looking for definitions or how-tos, there are other episodes on that. I'm not going to get into that in this one. This is just for ideas and riffing on how could a bricks and mortar retail shop selling physical product possibly use an NFT. First and foremost, the most obvious example is going to be loyalty clubs. I know what you're using a loyalty club, and I know what you have had, let's just say, some struggles. Whether you started out using a punch card or some kind of a stamp to track purchases, and then you started with some kind of a system that was supposed to be tracking, and you're giving loyalty points to certain people for spending a certain amount of money, or you're gifting them back $20 for every $100 spent, whatever it looks like. These systems are cumbersome. Every time you change your POS, you probably need to update it. You're losing people along the way. If you sell your business, loyalty points aren't necessarily being tracked or recognized, meaning you're losing the best customers when you're buying a business, all of which can be huge unknown risks and liabilities. So NFTs are forever. And they can very obviously, very easily recognize, firstly, who's in the club, but secondly, what level, what tier that they are at. And so you as the business owner can create that. You can do it for how much they're spending. You can do it for how often they're spending. You can do it for your big spenders. You can do it for your holiday spenders. So once you decide how you want to recognize and reward your people, then you can start really creating utility and excitement around what this NFT could possibly be for your loyalty clubs. Now, one of the coolest things that happens with NFTs, especially when you start thinking about it in terms of clubs, is community. The Bored Ape Yacht Club is the most obvious, and I do try and use real world examples. I'm not going to endorse anything because I haven't tried or vetted all of these different examples that I found, but I encourage you to do some research. Feel free to reach out to me if you're curious about some real world examples of your particular business using NFTs and blockchain in real time, because there are so many to list, which is why I'm able to find examples, but I'm not able to test them all, my friends. So if you're curious, let me know. I will absolutely share. But Bored Ape Yacht Club, everybody's heard of it. Snoop is creating his own cartoon and merch line from his Bored Ape. That's a different in terms of products and artists. We'll talk about licensing and NFTs. Listen to those episodes if you're curious. It's also a really interesting way to build a business. Snoop is actually creating an ice cream shop. His Bored Ape, I think I want to say Havana Joe is the name of his Bored Ape. I could be making that up though. But the point being, like, ice cream, ape, banana, it all kind of like made sense to him. And I think he's kind of riffing on like the Arrested Development, Balboa Bar, frozen banana shop idea. That's what's really cool about NFTs. Once you own it, you own it. It is yours with which to play and build. So you've created a club. Now your people can be in a community with each other, and they can talk about how cool your products are, when your upcoming sales are. You can host events that you give them access to. Listen to the event episode on that one. But your loyalty club becomes this online living, breathing entity where people can literally see what tier they're in. And that also gives you a little bit of exclusivity, a little bit of FOMO, because when people can see, oh, there's something just over there, I'm here, but I want to be a part of that. What do I have to do to join? So Loyalty Club, the most obvious example for retail. The next that is really exciting, a slightly more advanced level though, is when your business is creating its own cryptocurrency so that as people are buying, they're not just earning points, they're earning crypto. Now, here's the benefit of that. And I want to say Starbucks is actually kind of rolling something like this out. But the challenge being anytime you build up loyalty points in an industry, in a business, you can't use them elsewhere. They don't hold any inherent value. As soon as you create a currency, it can be traded. Again, more how-tos in other episodes. But the point being, what if your customers, every time they were purchasing, could earn loyalty points that they could use elsewhere? That's going to bring your brand and your business so much more value because customers realize the more they spend, the more they earn. But those are real earnings that can be transferred, not just earnings that can only be used in their store. And so if they move or if they lose interest, or whatever might happen in their lives, they're actually and authentically being rewarded, not just encouraged to actually spend more money, right? So that might be more in your brand values and in alignment with that. Sales are another obvious one. If you want access to a sale, you buy an NFT. Now you earn money, not just from having your requisite Black Friday sale, but for selling access to it. And because we've all learned, you kind of got to chop the gun with your Black Friday sales and give certain people pre-access. I don't know how you say it. Give people access before you actually open to the public. Now you can use NFTs to monetize that access. You can also use NFTs anytime you drop a new product so that you can give, again, your favorite buyers, customers, and clients the opportunity to buy first, which is going to build loyalty. It's going to create fans instead of just shoppers. I have so many different ideas. I had to write them all down and check notes. So, okay, let's say you're a designer, or let's say you're an artist, you're a creator, an artisan. Usually you need to sell some type of a certification so that people know when they're buying their product, they're buying an authentically made product. If you're a retailer and you represent, let's say, designer brands or artists, you might not always be the one that actually creates that certification of ownership and authenticity. An NFT does that for you. It is validation and proof of ownership. And yes, it needs to be minted. More on that in the definition and jargon episodes and the how-to. But once it's minted, that certification of authenticity and ownership is forever. And it's on the blockchain. It's completely viewable. Again, it can go in people's wallets so that anyone viewing can see. And then if that buyer eventually or ever decides they want to sell, they can sell it back to you, or they can sell it to another customer who has that certification of authenticity and ownership as part of the product itself. So it's giving you this transparency and this ability to hold on to something of value and prove this is and was made by the original creator. And the original creator can see that. So they can then track everybody that is purchasing this product. Get into the artists and NFTs and the benefits there. I will discuss that ad nauseum in that episode. Here's what I think is like a revolutionary way of thinking about your bricks and mortar business. And I don't know, maybe a lot of people are doing this. I don't personally have a physical shop, work with a lot of people who do, but a way of thinking about everything is, a bell curve, right? You're going to have 10% at the top, you're going to have 80% in the middle, and you're going to have 10% at the bottom. What NFTs are amazing at is recognizing that 10% at the top. 10% of your customer, clients, and buyers are going to be willing to spend 10 times more than everybody else. But if you just have a limited product range, if all of you're thinking about is in terms of tangible purchases, things that people can touch, right? It's going to limit your ability to make more money. You might even see your income as flattened because you only sell X, Y, and Z, or your highest price point is at A, and you only have C number of people walking through your door. If you can create a way of recognizing that 10x in your population, or even better, that 1x, the top 1% of your buyers. And I know 1%ers have a bad name, but what if you recognize the 1%ers in your business? You can think about that internally or externally. Customers, clients, and buyers on the external, internally in terms of stakeholders, your number one partners, your number one collaborators, you're the number one other small businesses in your area, and you can work together. NFTs can be a way that you create tiered level of access, that top 1% of access, and recognize it publicly so that everybody can see it in your wallet, recognize it in terms of rewards or benefits or access. There's a ton of different ways that you can build that value. One retail shop that I know of who they sell designer fashion. They bring all of the samples from all of the designers that they work with, and they host a party. Now, the people that shop at this store are the one percenters, right? But they are now recognizing the 1% of the 1%. So you can buy this NFT, you get annual access. I think it starts at around $10,000. Now, these people are spending $10,000 just to go to the sample sale, but here's why. From there, with designer fashion, you can get things ordered specifically to your size. But what the shop is doing is essentially market research. So they're inviting in their top buyers, their customers, their clients, not like other buyers from other shops. And those people are then telling them, this is what we want. That's then what they put in their store. And so they know that these products are going to sell because their best customers and clients are coming in and saying in advance before they need to go to floor and order multiple sizes and multiple versions of each thing, which are really expensive in this instance. I shouldn't say really expensive, are of great value and demand with low supply, because that's all that expensive means, right? So anywho, I thought that was a really, really brilliant way of creating a very, very high level NFT. There's a super limited number, so you're getting that exclusivity and that FOMO in there. The event itself is incredibly luxurious. So they bring in different speakers, it's catered, really nice champagne, but also the networking. Imagine the other people that are going to be there. They're in your community. They have a very high price point. They care very deeply about fashion, which is something you're going to care about if you want to buy this NFT. They're your people, right? And so there's so many different benefits when we start thinking about that 1% of people in your business, or even that 10% of people in your business. So I'm just going to throw a few more ideas out there in the ways that NFTs could be used in your retail bricks and mortar physical product selling store. Personal shopper. You could have an NFT that just simply represents the access to a personal shopper. So whether that's every time a product comes in that you think this person would like, whether it's doing their Christmas shopping for them, knowing when all of their birthdays are in their lives so that you can just have things ready for them and give them a call to remind them. So there's so many different ways that you can think about that personal shopper. Maybe it's doing deliveries for people that have limited mobile access. Whatever it is, how can you make this access to your shop something so desirable people would actually buy that access, let alone the products it will give them? Obviously, any events, perhaps you're hosting regular events, training events, how-tos. Maybe you're teaching people how to use your product. You're giving people different ideas about the versatility of your product, how your product could potentially work alongside other businesses in your network or in your community. You could host regular events and just give people access to one of them, a bundle of them, all of them. That can be an NFT. You can create your own merchandise and your own products. That can be an NFT so that people are collecting them. People are getting that certification of ownership, but for an actual product that you've designed and created. They can collect them. They can sell them as a collection. Other people can see who's buying and trading them. That's one of the cool things about NFTs is they're in your wallet. Now that wallet is viewable online. That's the beauty of blockchain. It's transparent. And if it's been minted on the blockchain, again, go to the definitions and jargon episode if you don't know what that means or you want to learn how to do this. That's a how-to episode. If it's been minted on the blockchain, it is authenticated. And so this is true to form. This is exactly what it says it's going to be. Okay, so we've gone through a lot of ideas for retail and for different ways that you can use NFTs in your bricks and mortar. That's actually, I should just clarify, bricks and mortar in the United States refers to a freestanding building in which you operate out of. So it just suggests that you have a physical space that your customers, clients, buyers, potentially your employees or team members or contractors can go into and engage in business, right? You're paying rent somewhere. Anywho, I digress. So the two other fascinating ways that NFTs are being used in business. First, supply chain management. So if you're purchasing an NFT or a product, and then that is getting sold to or bought on by somebody else, so on and so forth until it gets to you. By using the blockchain to actually manage that, you're able to see every time that purchase is exchanged in hands. And so different organizations and businesses are now using this in supply chain management, which I find absolutely fascinating. If you are ordering your products from overseas or you're ordering components of your products from overseas, this is going to tickle your pickle. If not, just keep in mind it's almost like tracking software, but instead of using FedEx or UPS or the postal system in your country, and you're getting different notifications and you're having to log on and create an account and give away more of your data, with blockchain, you don't have to do that anymore. And it is all going to be, you can literally get on and see every transaction as it's occurring and figure out where your product or where your parts and pieces are in transit in real time. What? Okay, so the last is different collaborations and partnerships. So one of the things that is like people are really embracing about Web3 is that transparency. And whenever you're listening to this, we might be on to like Web 18 at that point. But what blockchain and what the evolution is televising is that we want transparency, we want authenticity, we want to know what's happening. No more smokes and mirrors, no more hiding behind the veil. So people are working together, and so many big brands. There were actually too many to list, but just as an example, Adidas, Givenchy, obviously Apple, Ferrari, they're the headline makers because they're these huge, very well-known global brands. But believe me, any brand, any manufacturer, any product seller can collaborate with different organizations. So I'll speak more to this example in the hotel industries and NFTs. But as an example, a Paris hotel collaborated with a charity that cleans up plastics in the Amazons because hotels really struggle to limit their plastic usage. But this hotel has a high value around recycling. So an NFT allows them to partner with an organization where everybody benefits. So when people purchase the NFT, they're giving to that organization. That's bringing brand awareness and brand loyalty, but it's also just creating a beautiful partnership where everybody wins. So in your retail shop, where could you partner with a local artist or potentially another small local business, or even better, a local charity, so that what you're doing is of benefit to them? And maybe you're hosting an event, or maybe you're just giving a percentage of sales, but rather than saying we give 10% back to every, with every purchase, we plant a tree. Like, do you plant a tree? I've never seen you plant a tree. I don't know how many trees are really getting planted here. And I love the idea. But with NFTs and with partnerships and collaborations, we can see that transparency. You're also going to be able to join their communities because remember, NFTs connect and create communities so beautifully. It's transparent. Everybody can see it. It becomes this visual marker that we're in the same club. And so if you're doing that with these different partner organizations, whether they be the Ferraris and the Givenchys and Gucci's of the world, or they're a local artist and you're bringing them the spotlight and shining some light on their work and what they're doing in your community, it's a win-win-win for everybody. And I love my win-win-wins.